So today, Kai goes back to NY where he's from. And he decides he wants to do a big, giveaway to give back to his supporters and his community. So the plan was to go and give back like PS5s and all that stuff, right? But he made a very bad mistake in all of this. It was great intentions with everything. But let me walk you through a timeline of what transpired here. Okay, this is how it started. Fresh up out of the vehicle. All right. You're gonna really see there's a good amount of people here real quick, right? He's got a security walking him.
Yo, I can't have nobody bumping into my book bag this time because we see it close to free.
All right. And now look how quick this starts to pick up. This is actually pretty crazy. And I don't think he understood just how popular and just how much attention this would gather for him. And it was crazy. Let me pause right here. At this point, he doesn't think to himself, you know what, this might not be the best idea. So they keep pushing forward, right? So at this point, it looks like the video ends up stopping. The camera guy, the video guy, the live streaming. This is part of his live stream right here. They cut it. Then it quickly turns into this, y'all. Look at this. This is in Union Square Park. Yo. Talk about 0 to 100 real quick. That's a couple hundred people, and then look at them. They just going crazy in the middle of Union Square, throwing stuff. It's essentially a mosh pit situation in there. There's a lot to break down and what we're going to talk about in all this, right? Let's continue with the videos on what happens here. Here, riots break out, and this is all happening in New York today. Let's take a look at this video. This is from helicopter footage.
Pushing and shoving.
So you can see the police here trying to disperse
Now we see police
and get things under control. And you've got people in the crowd, attacking them.
And looks like somebody else being taken into custody over there. People pushing and shoving.
It gets better. Well, not better, but then it gets crazier. And then here's the crazy thing too. More footage of, and clearly it's all teens. It's all teenagers. It's all teenagers out here going crazy. My man's is on top of a vehicle, getting sturdy. Everyone's cheering him on. You got cameras everywhere. Listen, I said there's so many things that are going on in this that need to be broken down. I'm gonna talk about what Kai did and the big mistake that he made, because he truthfully, if you're being objective about this, he made a terrible decision. This was a terrible judgment call, even though he had the best intentions, and I applaud him for what he wanted to do. But you can't just do this at his level. I'll talk about that more in a second. Since we're on this video right here, like you got these shorties right here kicking in the car, destroying property. And here's the crazy thing about, I'm just gonna call it like it is. Gen Z is kind of fucked. Gen Z is really fucked. Like, we live in an age where everything is on camera. The fact that they don't even realize that you think you're doing something popping, like you the man up here stomping on a car, you got about 100 phones, cell phones recording your face. You don't think these cops are gonna find you and bag you up for this? Like, there's no connection here with Gen Z, with this whole idea of maybe it used to be like quiet as kept. You don't do something, you do it outside the purview of anybody else. You do your thing, whatever it is, you do your thing. But like everyone in the Gen Z, man, is crazy. Like, they don't understand this concept, and they record everything, bro. Like, they really set themselves up for these L's, because they're gonna keep getting arrested. They're gonna have all this evidence against them. And I think, to be fair, a lot of this is probably because of the disconnect from fathers not being in the home, older mentors, figures telling them like, hey, this is not how you're supposed to move, because you're gonna get yourself caught up, right? It's the old saying, like, no face, no case. It's like they took that and just completely disregarded it and are not even, don't even care. So you got this whole generation coming up right now, young boys that are putting everything, and it's not just them, it's the entire Gen Z population that put everything in 4K. You setting yourself up so bad, and they don't even realize it. So they think he thinks he's the man right now. My man just literally gonna catch the case. He gonna be in a juvie. You know what I'm saying? So you got all of this happening right now. And this is also happening in Chicago. We got these teen mobs that run through and do like these random hits in the city. The new mayor of Chicago's catching flack for that stuff. It's been going on since before him and all that stuff. It's just a thing. I don't even know what the reason for all of this is. You know what I'm saying? What's compelling them? Because I don't think we've ever seen anything to this degree where you have these massive mobs of teenagers just wilding out. You know what I'm saying? Like it used to be, you know, you would go out and protest and do all this stuff for some kind of a cause, war or this or some injustice. Yo, they just be out here just to because it's a slow Tuesday and they just want to go out and fuck some stuff up. Here's another video. My man on the car, about 1 million phones on him, got his face. He looked like Tory Lanez. They really think they be doing something, not realizing you giving all of this right over to the cops. They pulling all this stuff off. They got you in 4K. They taking you, writing you up. You're gonna get arrested. You're gonna pay fines. You know what I'm saying? You might not go to jail perhaps, but you're gonna get hit with some stuff that's gonna be on your record. So we got more of this happening in New York today. Let's continue through how this all started, what was happening. And then we got another video from this whole Kai Cenat situation in New York. And then it just turns violent. Right? Now my man's just swinging. They just going crazy. They just going crazy. And it just becomes like it is like a beatdown. I don't know what's happening. But it descended into this. What started off with great intentions from Kai to go and go back to New York, where he's from, to go give back to the community and connect with his supporters, turned into this.
We're hearing estimates of thousands and thousands of people who showed up.
Now in this video, you've got Kai in the car. They're just trying to get the hell out of here at this point, right? They realize what happened. This is bad. They know it's bad, and it's become way too much for them to control. Now they're in the vehicle here to the right, trying to take off. You can clearly see there's a whole lot of people on the car riding with them, like on the car. I mean, look at it.
Stefan, I don't want to interrupt you.
You know, it looks like.
One quick second right now, because you're looking at live pictures.
Let's see if this zooms back out here.
Covered with people, and we do believe that that was the vehicle that had Kai Cenat in it, which you can see now looked as though could have been leaving the area.
And then we get there we go. We got the vehicle again right there. I mean, just look how mobbed it is. It's insane.
Chase after.
It's insane.
That's the vehicle right.
I mean, you know, you see stuff like this with like the Beyoncés, the Michael Jacksons of the world. It says a lot to the level of stardom Kai has with that audience. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that is his core demos, like the Gen Zers. And to see them coming out, like it says a lot about how he's managed to connect and all that, but it's also a sign of like, you can't move the way you want to move anymore. You know, that now becomes null and void. We'll talk about that more in a second. So they're trying to peel off here.
In right now, as Stefan was saying, he was there.
You got all these people on the car. It looks like when the SWAT vehicles pull up and, you know, they got the SWAT officers hanging off the sides in the back. I mean, that's what it looks like at this point.
Was in the crowd for a little bit of time, but clearly this was an out of control crowd, and so
now they're speeding up.
No giveaway whatsoever, getting in the car, but
so they're speeding up. You can tell they're picking up speed.
Now driving pretty fast.
And they got people on it. This is so bad. This is so bad. They're peeling off, trying to get away from the crowds. I don't know if they don't realize. They have to know that guys are on the back because they're blocking the back window. I don't know if they know people are on the hood. This is legitimately crazy and probably enough evidence to use against Kai or his driver, whoever, because he put people's lives at risk for this, even though he can't control that they were on them or on the car.
To the side and top of it.
And then
it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling why they're not stopping to let these people off the car.
Yeah, this is bad. Boom, one kid falls off.
And then someone fell off. Okay.
I mean, right? He narrowly kind of escapes. And then it kind of starts to end like this. Here's Kai getting hemmed up by the police. Now it's really contentious here. You can see Kai, I don't know who he's talking to, but you got police all around him. It looks like they're trying to take him. The guy right behind Kai is probably one of his security. And look at the kind of altercation that's happening here. So his security's like, I got him, which, you know, security's supposed to do that. They're paid to, you know, do personal protection services and all that stuff. And you never leave the principal. By the way, the principal is the term referred to the person under your protection. You're not supposed to. So I understand where he's coming from on this, but then you've got the police being like, nah, we got him. It kind of escalates. It gets real tense. Now that's a cop hit the security guard in the chest like, no, I got him. So now there's an altercation because security is like, no, this is my guy. Police are like, no, we're just gonna take him. This is a crazy situation. So police basically took Kai. Whether they arrested him, I think I've seen stuff saying that he wasn't arrested, but they took him for his own protection. We have another video here, which this is actually funny. If you don't know, Kai's a small guy. I don't know if he's like 5'3" or something like that. Maybe 5'4". I don't know, but he's small. But just watch what they do to him right here. They just carried him like a little baby into safety. That's actually pretty funny. And then the last clip right here is we'll take a look and we'll see here that police are escorting him to who knows where. You can see Kai, you know, I don't know, just kind of going with it. Seems partially confused or overwhelmed by what's happening right now. But you can see that NYPD is taking him to remove him from the situation in hopes that it will get the crowd to disperse and all that stuff. So let's talk about what I wanted to talk about here is essentially how Kai made a terrible mistake here. And this should be something that any person that gets into a level of celebrity has to be aware of, that you will, if you go high enough in your celebrity, there's always a point where then you have to change your entire life. To a certain extent, your life is no longer yours. And that's the trade-off that comes with fame and celebrity. You know, we've seen it with all the major celebrities out there, right? Whether it's Kanye or Beyonce or insert whatever A-list superstar artist, they have to move very differently. You just can't move how you want to move. You got to do things a certain way, and you sacrifice a good portion of your life and your freedoms for that, right? That's just how it is, right? The reality is that Kai didn't, this is probably the wake-up call for Kai to let him know that you are at that level. Even though you're a streamer, you're a content creator, he has such a large audience, large young audience, Gen Z audience, that look up to him the same way that an 80s or 90s hip-hop head might look up to Jay-Z. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's that kind of a thing. They look up to him big time. And this is the wake-up call. It should be a wake-up call for him to let him know, like, you can't move like this anymore. If you're gonna want to give back events to connect with your community and your fans and all that stuff, you have to set it up you have to set it up in coordination with police, with security, get permits. You just can't do it as a pop-up anymore. He's too big for these pop-ups, because look what's happened now. We don't know what's going to happen out of this. There's a couple of ways that this could play out, and I kind of want to play the scenarios out here. First of all, one of the things that's going to happen here is that they can fully charge them for something. You know, it's the police, right? It doesn't take much for them to come up with something that they can say, like, yep, we're going to make this stick. I think off the top of my mind, the thing that I've been seeing talked about that makes the most sense is that, they can slap them with disturbing the peace, or even inciting a riot, something to that effect, if there's enough evidence they can gather about this. We saw the clip of their vehicle trying to get away. We saw that there were people on top, people fell off of the vehicle. Who's to say that one of these kids that fell off is not going to file a civil suit and, you put my life in danger because you were speeding off? There's a potential for that to be a criminal charge because, you know, reckless endangerment, perhaps. I'm just spitballing some things that come to mind. So there's always the chance now that they could press some kind of charges as a way to teach them a lesson, to set a precedent there that they don't want this to be a thing. They don't want other influencers just try and do this. You show up in Union Park, it's a big public space. There were also issues now because of this. There was a person in one of those stands on the street that was assaulted. There was property damage to private businesses. This really turned into something bigger, which people are going to want accountability for. So now that I think about it, I wouldn't be surprised if Kai gets charged with some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the, let's say, like the optimistic side of this, perhaps maybe they don't, because the argument can be made, hey, listen, we came here with the best intentions. We had no clue it would turn into this. And they can certainly argue that, hey, we're not responsible for their actions. We didn't incite anything. You know, typically when you get like inciting a riot thing, typically that is charged on someone that is actively trying to agitate the people in the crowd, right? You're on the bullhorn, you know, fight back, you know, you're trying to say inflammatory things to get people to react and get that going, right? The mob mentality, it's a real thing. He can make the argument, his lawyer can make the argument. He never did any of that. He just showed up, he tried to do something good, and then the mob of people just descended into its own shitstorm. And I think that's a valid argument that they can make. So it's going to be interesting to see what New York decides to do here. If I'm a betting man, I think they try and pull some charges out, just because it's a shitty state, and with all that stuff, they're probably going to try to do something to that effect. And this needs to be a wake-up call for Kai. You can't move like this, bro. You're too big. You're too big to move in these streets freely like that. And I get it. When you're someone that comes from the hood and the streets, you know, you always want that feeling like I can move anywhere and I'm good. I'm like that in Chicago. I can move any part of the city. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? It's not because I'm some big tough guy. It's because I just know I know people, and I also know how to just talk and just, you know, you got to, when you show respect, you get respect. It allows you to move around. You know what I mean? When you show love and you show respect to people, he can't do that anymore. And this is going to be something it's going to be a blemish on him. There's also talks about what this could mean for him on Twitch. You know, Twitch be banning people for anything. Well, they ban people for like frivolous stuff, but then people that get blowjobs on stream or got their cheeks out, they're fine. That's how Twitch works, right? But there's also discussion that this could, I mean, the way the media is talking about Kai, it's the first thing that's out of their mouths as they're reporting on this is Twitch streamer Kai. So this is now reflecting on the platform. There may be repercussions coming off from Twitch. They have been known to take action against their streamers for off-platform things. This certainly is a big deal that's made national news now. He is one of their biggest streamers, so if they ban him, it's going to be a huge money loss too. So now there's that issue for them. So this whole situation is really interesting to see how each side decides to play this and what decisions are made to penalize Kai for this, if they do at all. So we'll have to kind of stay tuned. We'll be following this, but I thought this was a really interesting case study on when you get to a certain level of celebrity, your life is no longer yours. You got to change how you move. You got to do things super different, and you have to do things to isolate yourself from potential risk and exposure to being held liable for some kind of a suit, allegations. And here's the thing. This ain't the first time Kai's had this lapse of judgment, man. Now that I think about it, you know, earlier this year, there was the allegation that came from some girl that, for those of you that have been following his whole story and everything, there was an allegation from a young lady that said that a guy at his party, sexually assaulted her and all this stuff, and he was tied into this. She didn't accuse him of doing anything foul, just the guy that was there, but it was at his amp house where his crew are at, and you know, he got wrapped up into it. So he gotta, and here's the thing, he gotta have better people around him to guide him through this stuff, man. And even if he says, no, I want to do it, he gotta have people around him that ain't yes men. They'd be like, nah, bro, like, you're not gonna do this because this can expose you to all kinds of bad things. Now, the one gleaming sliver of good that may come out of this, and I use that word very loosely, is that we all know that there is no such thing as bad PR. There's good PR and there's just bad PR, but it's all good PR because essentially what happens is this just elevated his name to the nation. He is now out of the streamer gamer space, influencer. Now he's transcended that even more into the general public. You know, your grandma just watched the news report. Oh, grandson, I saw the boy, the streamer, the Mr. Kai, and you're like, oh yeah, grandma, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that. He's now managed to get to that level. So while this may look bad, he may have to deal with it, this may end up actually benefiting him anymore. We've seen it with rappers when they go to jail, right? They go to jail. Gucci Mane, remember when Gucci got locked up? Gucci got locked up for a while. When he got out of jail, Gucci went crazy, right? I can go down the list of rappers that have done this. They get locked up, they sit down, they sit in timeout for a little while, then they come out and it boosts them even more. We see it with other streamers and content creators that get banned off a platform. Once their ban is removed or whatever, they come back and they got substantially more viewers. Shit, I should just go do something crazy, get banned, come back, and then it'd be like getting more people, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm not. But my point is that there could be, I suspect that's also going to happen here too. So it's a really interesting case study that was worth talking about and something to keep an eye on to see how this all plays out. But to be completely honest, just a bad decision on Kai's part and his team's part for allowing him to do this, for them to not think that the whole city, all the teams wouldn't come out to this when it's a Friday in the middle of summer, when they don't got no school and they got nothing else to do. Of course they're gonna pull up. What were y'all thinking about? You messed up on this one. You got to hold the L. I'm just keeping it a buck. Hopefully, lessons learned, and going forward, he can do this a bit differently so that he's more protected, the public is protected, and that he doesn't get hummed up in some situation like this, because this is a crazy one for sure. He is going to pay a lot of fines. He's going to pay some fines. Maybe they give him some community service. I think one of the best things he could do is if they gather up what the damages were and just pay for the damages, because there were businesses that were, again, he's not directly responsible for the behavior of the mob and the people, but it was all predicated on him popping up. He made it publicly known he's going to be here for this meet and greet. Without him, it doesn't happen. So he is, I believe, going to be held accountable, and he may have to just pay a lot of money. He got bread, and it's still going to hurt to pay a lot of money. You're going to have to pay a couple $100K probably. But I think at this point, he needs to probably do the right thing and that maybe that helps to brush over any kind of criminal charges. Like, hey, look, if he has a good lawyer, which I'm sure he does, I'll probably like, look, we'll take care of all the damages. We'll whatever. Let's just not go into any kind of criminal charges here, whatever. And maybe they give him some kind of a thing where, like, hey, maybe you're banned from here, or if you ever do this again, we'll throw the book at you, kind of a thing. Who knows? But a crazy day in New York with Kai, man. And just to look on his face on this freeze frame right here, he just looks so confused. He just looks so confused, man.